so this might be a different link. Um, but thank you, India, for joining me. I appreciate you. Thank you, viewers, for joining this morning's money conversation. I wanted to introduce you to India Lindsey. India describes herself as the marketing goddess. She is a business strategist, has been a ghostwriter from some of Hollywood's big names, and she's a best-selling author. She's also the leader of a group I am in that has helped me so much called Marketing Mayhem, where she shares her marketing gems with her paid subscribers. She's recently crossed the mark of having consistent $15,000 months in her business, and she's done this all before hitting 30. So she shares her success story about growing up in Baltimore and now living in Charlotte and making her dreams come true on her own terms with her own business. So if I have missed anything, let me know. Thank you for joining us again. But tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into starting business, if that's like from childhood or adulthood, anything.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. I think you did a really good job on introducing me and talking about who I am and stuff. I think you did a good job. So, originally, as you said, I'm from Baltimore. When I was younger, I really didn't have any aspirations of being an entrepreneur. I thought I was going to be a writer. I love to write. And so when I started my business, no, when I went to college, I studied corporate communications, and I really was kind of like shied away from doing writing. I was told you don't make a lot of money writing, writers don't make money, and so you should go with a safe career. And so at first I was a nursing major, but quickly learned that I'm not really good at science, so that didn't work out. And so I ended up, my roommate at the time, she was a corporate communications major, and so I saw the work that she was doing. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So I ended up going to school for corporate communications. I worked as a marketing director. After that, I worked in different communications positions, and I got fired literally a week before Christmas. And I needed money, and that was what sort of threw me into entrepreneurship. A lot of people plan to go into entrepreneurship. I literally was thrown in it. It was fail or famine type of mentality. Like I had to figure out. I had student loans. I had bills. I had a ton of bills. So I went to what I knew how to do best. So in college, I was informally helping people write papers, helping them with resumes. Like I just used my writing skills, and so I created a business from that. I created my agency, The Right Touch, and from there, all of the other businesses that I've been able to grow, Paid in PJs, my digital product membership, Marketing Mayhem, my marketing membership, um, digital products, coaching, all of that grew from me having the right touch. So that's just my little story of how I got here.
And that is so awesome. I know a lot of people and a lot of women, Black women in that situation that um, we start businesses because we have to. Either we are underpaid, we were fired, or something, or we let go, and we have to do what we have to do to make ends meet. I graduated during the last recession. It seems like we're entering a new recession, and I started my own business, or freelancing, because it was hard to get a job then. So I definitely can relate to that. So you said you started because you had this gift of writing, but you didn't think that you would make a lot of money being a writer. So how did you transition into, writing as a hustle, I guess, to get by, and then transitioning that into a real business?
That's a good question. When I originally started writing, like I said, it was just to cover my bills, my basic necessities. But then when I started to see other entrepreneurs really making a career out of entrepreneurship or just whatever would be considered a hustle, I started to be around different people who were like, oh, you can turn this into a real business. You don't have to go into the workforce. And so I just started to be around different people that gave me that insight. At the time when I began business, Periscope was a big thing. So a
Mhm.
lot of the entrepreneurs were on Periscope. So I would watch their live streams, and they would talk about like financial freedom. They would talk about how they started in business. They would talk about digital products. They were talking about all different kind of things, and I was just soaking up the knowledge as a new entrepreneur. I started listening to a business podcast. I had really nobody in my life who was an entrepreneur, so I just had to pretty much depend on books and podcasts and like different entrepreneurs on social media to kind of change my mindset to say, okay, this isn't a hobby. This is something that you can make a career out of.
Okay. And what were some of those? I love books. I love books and I love podcasts. So that those have helped me a lot as well. So what were some of your favorite books and podcasts?
Okay, at the time, this is like 2016, 2015. So there was this entrepreneur. She's still an entrepreneur, Coriel. She had this podcast called Mindset Monday, and she used to send out like a Monday gym every day. Like every Monday, she would just send out like this little motivational gym. It was like a 20 minute to an hour podcast, and so I started listening to this. To that, I started to read. I read the 4 Hour Work Week. I'm an avid reader, so I've read so many books. I would probably have to like look at I probably have to look at my Goodreads list to see what I
Mhm.
was reading back then. I read what else did I read? The Four Agreements. Because I started working on a lot of mindset, mostly in entrepreneurship. Once you get to start your business, it's the mindset that's gonna keep you there. Because you're gonna have good months, you're gonna have bad months. It's really that mindset that's gonna be like, okay, this is for me. So it was hybridly. Somebody, so it was solely that was one of the books that I really enjoyed. Right now I'm reading The Prophet. That has been a really really great book now, but it has been so many books that have really gotten me here that I can't attribute it to just one book. Another
Okay.
podcast I started listening to Dave Ramsey's podcast. That's not
Mhm.
necessarily business, but it helped me get my money together. It helped me get my mindset together. Um, and everybody in his team. So Christy Wright, her business podcast, his daughter Rachel, her podcast. At the time I was listening to my Elite Tales podcast. That was a gem pretty much. She talked about entrepreneurship, she talked about working, she talked about both sides. So you want to stay in your career, how to transition in your career, how you excel in your career. She talked about if you want to grow in entrepreneurship, here's how you do it. Um, Sakita Holly had a podcast called Hashtag and Stilettos. Um, there were so many great podcasts. Particularly, I was drawn to successful Black women because I really didn't see that in my environment. Like I saw a level of success, but not the level of success I wanted to go to. I didn't see success as an entrepreneur. So I started looking, the podcasts were the closest thing to that for me because I didn't have, those kind of role models in my life that was going to help me, get the six figures, get to, the kind of lifestyle I wanted to create for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned some of those, like Coriel. I follow her. I don't think she podcasts as much, but I definitely follow her. And just watching her come from education to teacher, she's like, I'm doing. I was making $36,000 a year to making $36,000 or more weeks. So
Right.
I thought
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
uh,
She really has. She really has
right.
come a long way.
Yeah, so like watching that, Dave Ramsey, he's a tried and true money person, like everybody knows him. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, he's a person who inspired me to start doing this series because I completely respect him in his position and what he's done and what he's built. But he's an older white man, um, very Christian, very like, I don't know, rigid a little bit
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in his beliefs, and he helps so many people. But I do think there's not a lot of voices of single women, single Black women, single mothers, like unmarried people who are succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like all the like stories were like married couples, high earners,
Mm-hmm.
doctors, things like that. While they did get a control of their money, I just wanted to highlight a diversity of stories
Yeah.
and let people know that no matter where you're coming from, you don't have to be a high earner. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a stay-at-home mom who has a rich husband to be able to do this. So he's one of the people that definitely inspire me. I want to talk more about your success? Like, what is your biggest success to date? And tell us how you just more a story about your entrepreneurship. Like, do you feel like you're successful now?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think has been your biggest success and what brought you to that?
That's such a loaded question because I feel like, yes, I do feel like I'm successful.
Mm-hmm.
It did take me a long time to get to the point to actually accept that. Like when
Mm-hmm.
people are like, "Oh, you're a role model to me," or say things like that, I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just a regular person." They're like, "No, you're not. Like you're this person to me." So recognizing that it's like, okay, like these people, there are people who admire me and follow my journey. I would say my biggest success to date, I'll just use my most recent success. I feel like every landmark I get to, like when I had my first $1,000 day, I thought that was like my most successful thing. When I had my first 15,000 month, $1,000 month, I thought that was like my most successful thing. When I published my first book and sold 100 copies the first day, I thought that was like my most successful thing. As an entrepreneur, you always feel like, okay, when it's going to be my moment, and you hit that moment and you're like, okay, well, what's the next moment? So to date, my most successful thing I will say was getting 100 members in Marketing Mayhem. So Marketing Mayhem, my membership group, it's a paid subscription. And I definitely was like, okay, well, are people going to want to pay monthly to be in this membership? And so when I grew it to 100 people, that was really amazing to me because I was like, really, wow, like people really, do value what I get. So I would say that that is my most, that was a powerful moment. That was like a really great moment for me. I had to take out and actually just acknowledge it, like, okay, and celebrate it. Like, yes, I grew this membership to 100 people, and it actually was over 100. It's over 100 people, 105 people. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm excited about getting 200 and 500 and then 1,000. So yeah, that would be my most successful accomplishment so far, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to put a quick endorsement or plug for her program. If you're watching this and you have a business, especially it doesn't matter where you're at on the journey, but if you need some more motivation, accountability, ideas for marketing and to market daily, definitely join her group. And it's just a fun community, mostly Black women at this point, not all, but mostly right now, encouraging each other and uplifting each other. So I would definitely join. I'm in two of her groups. I'm in Paid in PJs and Marketing Mayhem. So
Yeah.
that's just an endorsement of what I think about her skills and her abilities. So
Paid
I
people is getting there, but I think Paid people has like 35 members right now, and I do want to get that to 100 too. So,
okay.
like, one at a time. And
Yeah, yeah.
I can combine the two, but I feel like one is two different topics. So,
Yeah. I would say next question. So we talked about a little bit about your success and your biggest success. You're saying is Marketing Mayhem, but your biggest successes are in front of you. Like you're making successes every time. So I
yeah.
love that answer. But can you talk about some of your failures? Some of your failures in businesses, some of your not so good starts, or even like maybe failures in life that have pushed you
Mm-hmm.
to go harder in business.
So my first failure in business, it was hiring a friend. She was my assistant at the time, and what I have learned in business is that you will lose a lot of people, you will gain a lot of people. Business requires you to be more mature. Like people always think that I'm older than I am because I'm so mature, but I had to be mature because I'm dealing with all types of people. You want to be professional.
Mhm.
One of the biggest things that I used to feel like was a failure, losing friendships. Like I've actually had people tell me that, like, I had a friend I was really good friends with. She literally sent me an email and she was like, "We can't be friends because you're growing at a fast pace that I can't keep up with." I was just
Mm.
like, "What did I do?" Like, and I never had nobody. Like I've had people indirectly say that, like just leave my life or like cause conflict. But I never had somebody actually say, okay, I'm jealous of you and how you're growing, and I'm gonna exit from your life. And I was just like, what? So that was just like crazy to me when things like that started happening. Also money management. Before I was an entrepreneur, I was really good with my money. Like I saved up $10,000 like in a few months. I was really disciplined with my money. But when I became an entrepreneur, it was like, okay, I have access to all this money. And so it changed my mindset. It made me like I guess more of a risk taker and more risky with my money. Previously when I wasn't an entrepreneur, I always thought that I was going to be fired from every job that I had. I always had in the back of my mind I was going to be fired. So I always saved most of my money because I was like, okay, I don't know where if I get fired, I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills. But as an entrepreneur, it was like, okay, money is. It changed my mindset. Like, oh, money is abundant. I make money every single day, so I don't have to worry about it. But then there comes a time when you have a slow period in your business, or you go from having all this money and then you have like all these things, all stuff. So just managing money was just, and I'm a first generation entrepreneur, so I didn't have anybody that was like, oh, pay your taxes or do this or do this or do that. Nobody was holding my hand in the process, so I had to learn a lot of expensive lessons. I was paying people over. Like I pay my writers at 60%, and they kind of came in and was like, "No, you need to be paying these people at 40% or lower. You can't grow your business at paying people so much."
Mm-hmm.
So just a lot of money lessons I have learned, loaning people money, people feeling like, I market a lot, so I talk about my numbers a lot. And so people see me talking about my numbers and they're like, oh, can I have $1,000? You were talking about you made $15,000 last month. Can I have $1,000? Like I have a team, I have taxes, I have this, like, yeah, no. So, having to create boundaries with so many people in my life, that's another thing in business because I hate firing people. I hate getting into conflict, but all of those things I had to like stand up for and just, had to deal with because, some of my, when I originally started my business, I hired a lot of my friends which, some of them I ended up having to fire because they weren't doing their job or they were turning in assignments late or our relationship just changed once, money was involved. Having to be a leader and lead a whole team of people is a whole different ballgame and something that I wasn't prepared for. So there have been many lessons in business, both financial, emotional, creating boundaries, things. Those are probably my biggest lessons.
I mean, you said a whole lot there, and there's like a lot of different directions we could go to or ask more questions, but and that's real. One of the first things I want to dig into that you talked about, the loss of relationships, and not be and because people feel like they're jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how did you feel though? That person said to you that I think you're growing at a rate that I can't keep up with, so I'm going to exit your life. Did you feel that you didn't want to be friends with these people anymore, or that did you feel like, oh, I need new friends, or like what was your take on that?
Sometimes like I valued the relationships that I had with people, but I felt like I was always praying for and I say this prayer like every day. I ask God to bring more like-minded people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so by that, when you put that request out into, and I'm not a super religious person at all,
Mm-hmm.
but the one thing that um, was missing in entrepreneurship for me was relationships, and that is friendships and intimate relationships. I'm not even as close with some of my family members. Like, my mom is probably the closest person I am close with in my family, but other than that, I'm not close with a lot of my family members. I'm not close with, and the entrepreneurship pulled me from a lot of people. Like one time, I had like a conversation with somebody and they made something like, oh, India is perfect or something like, and I never knew that I came off to people as having this perfect life. And entrepreneurship just further moved me from a lot of people as well. But I felt like with that friend that when I was going through a transition, where I just wasn't doing the best in my business, I felt like we had a trauma bond. So, uh,
Mm-hmm.
so when the friendship ended, I was like, okay, some of what you said is true. Maybe we are just going at different places. And I accepted that, and it made me, when I fell out with other friends or other people left my life, it wasn't so as devastating because I started to understand, okay, well, I asked God for more like-minded people to come in my life. So, I can't keep all these old people who just aren't grown, who don't want to grow, who don't, and this was before I started marketing with him. So before I started marketing with him, I was sort of a unofficial coach to a lot of my business friends. So they'd come to me for ideas. I would give them different strategies and stuff, and then everybody started saying, "You should be a coach." And I was insecure about being that because I felt like I didn't have the image. I'm not the big girl on Instagram. I barely get 13 likes on a post. Um, I just felt like I didn't have the image. But then when I would help my friends with something that they were paying, $10,000 a year for, I'm like, well, maybe I should try this. Because maybe, I have been in business for a long time. Before I even started as a business owner, I had a social media marketing agency. I helped a lot of other businesses grow their business. I helped one business make 25 grand in a weekend. I was before people even knew about influencers. I was making contracts, contacting people before influencer marketing was even a thing. I was going to influencers, negotiating rates and all of that before like it was like as popular as it is now. So I was like, okay, I do have the experience, but yeah, again, it was painful losing friends, losing, relationships and stuff. But I asked God to bring like-minded individuals in my life, and so I had to leave all of the people that weren't on the same path as me. It was painful, but necessary.
I think you said a lot there that was good as well. First of all, you said you didn't feel like you had the image or the following or anything like that. I just pulled up your Instagram page. She has 3,400 followers. 3,400 followers,
That's
and
okay.
and doing more than 15,000 a month now.
Yeah.
And people think that you have to have this huge following to get started. And I'm pretty sure you got a lot of that following recently, right?
Yep. Yeah. I probably had like 2,000 followers for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
I recently got a big boost with the late CC Gunn. She had did like a couple shout outs for me because I was in her program. That's when like I started getting a lot more shine. But I'm definitely low key on Instagram. I barely post pictures. I like post on it, get like 13 likes. But people message me. I'm heavy in DMs. I have a
Mm-hmm.
webinar coming up this week, actually, where I'm teaching people how to make money just from the DMs. So it doesn't matter. If I had 100 followers, I would be getting sales from every one of those followers. So it's not about the number of followers because I work with people who have 1 million followers and don't know how to convert it. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's how you train your audience. Your
Right.
audience knows, hey, this person is selling something. But if your audience is just coming to you for like comedy or something, and they like know that you're not selling nothing, they're not going to be trained to buy from you. So
Right. Right.
it's about your audience. You can have 100 followers. I would rather somebody have 500 followers that's monetized than 500,000 and don't can't even 100 sales from those followers.
Right. So don't let the followers stop you guys. And that was a message for me. That was going for me. I have like 600 followers, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to
That's
use these
good.
followers.
It's
um,
good. It's not the followers. It's really like, because sometimes it's like a hidden gem. Like, you're a hidden gem. Sometimes you find a hidden gem. Some of the people that I've worked with have like less than 5,000
mhm.
followers, and they're closing, just as much as I am, or they're really talented at what they did. Like my graphic
Mhm.
designer that I use, I think she has like 1,000 or less followers, and she is talented. Like she's a hidden gem right now because people aren't, some people are attracted by big numbers.
Right.
When you're working with people with big numbers, you literally are just like a number to them. So when you work with somebody who has smaller numbers, they usually are more attentive to your projects and more attentive to you. So the numbers don't matter. It really
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Thank you for sharing that. And then the other thing I wanted to address that you mentioned. So some of your friends started falling off. You didn't even, a lot of people, we're in like Black culture, Black, oh, I can't deal with them, whatever. So I like that you said you didn't even block these people. You didn't remove yourselves from them. They just decided that they couldn't deal with you.
Yeah.
But like you said, when you said that prayer, God is going to move and shift things. So,
you don't have to do a thing. You can. I mean, God is going to give you a warning on some people. He's going to tell you about some people. And me, I have a hard time letting people go because I had like I'm like, okay, I always give people all different excuses, but God will show you, okay, this person is not for you. You won't listen. It's like, okay, this person is not for you. You still won't listen. And then it'll be like a third instant, and the person will remove themselves, or they'll just be removed, and you'll be like, okay, I'm listening now. You didn't know. I'm not a blocker. I'm not the person. I don't block people. I think that's very traumatic. So I don't block people. I think that's very like that's not emotionally intelligent. That's mean. Like I don't really block people. You have to be like a stalker or something for me to block you. I'm not a blocker. If I am no longer friends with somebody, then all of the people, most of the people I'm still not friends with, they're still connected. All of my exes, everybody, we're still connected on Facebook. I'm not that blocking person. I'm still friends with, like, I don't fall out with people. For me to really like get into like a verbal or physical argument or something like that, like it has to be like really bad. But when I fall out with people, it's just like we have that conversation. Oh, we're no longer friends, or we don't, or I never been the person that block people because I feel like that's just really mean and cruel. It's like the silent treatment. Like, I see if somebody's harassing you, but somebody you consider a friend or whatever, like people fall out, people have disagreements, to block somebody and not, deal with the issue. I think that's just kind of petty. And I don't want somebody to feel like that. So.
Yeah, no, I understand, and you are more mature than me because I have matured to the point where I've gotten there now. Like, I'm like, okay, like you need to address the issue or talk to someone. But I used to let things fester and not talk about them, and so in my 20s, I did just like block people, just not talk to them. I remember even a boyfriend I was dating, and I didn't talk to him for 3 days because he made me mad, and he was like, "Right, we need to have a conversation. You just can't like go." I was like, I had to calm down.
Yeah, I'm dealing with something like that, and it's I try not to be reactive or overreact because even though we're in business or whatever type of relationship, people's emotions and feelings are involved, and if you don't communicate, you can create a whole story in your head that's not true.
Right.
And you have a conversation with the person, and they're like, "No, actually, this is what happened," and you're like, "Oh, but you've been in your mind, you've been done wrong by so many people, or you have abandonment issues, or you have all types of issues, so you done created this thing." And he's like, "Oh, this person is just this. They're a narcissist. They're this, and I've been called a narcissist. I've been called all types of things, and I'm just like, no, I'm really just a genuine person. People have, like I had a friend that I followed recently with a business partner. She was upset that I worked with someone that she didn't like, and I was trying to explain to her that it wasn't nothing against her. I like this business partner. I wasn't like the girl didn't do any. She just didn't like the girl, so me working with her isn't any type of revenge towards her. It was just, I so happened to work with this girl, but this person had been burned, had been, upset with other business owners, so she didn't get it that way, and like we're no longer friends. So, I mean, it is what it is. But sometimes you try to explain things to people, and they're so emotional about it. Like some people say, business is business. It's not like it's just like business is so much part of my life. There are sometimes, it's an emotional process. You're gonna have, days when you're upset. You're gonna have days when you naturally react to stuff. And it's okay. But yeah, I'm not the blocker. I don't.
That's
I'm really mature about it and have that conversation because blocking them is just like they're really gonna be upset. Like they
yeah, I mean, business is relationship, so you're right. And another thing I want to address about, you said a lot, and I just wanted to like dive in deeper to some things we said. You said you share numbers and people ask you for money. And then you also mentioned that people feel like you're a narcissist. And I think that, this is my opinion, I think that people think they're a narcissist sometimes, or business people are narcissists when they start sharing their wins, especially Black women, or women start sharing their wins or accomplishments. And I used to dumb down my accomplishments or dumb down my wins so other people would be more comfortable. And now I'm a little over that. And I think that we need to share our wins. We need to be more confident. We need to be a little cocky. That doesn't mean you don't like other people. That doesn't mean that you look down on other people. It just means that you have a high self-value of yourself. Because white men do that. And people don't.
I've had so many people, even before I was an entrepreneur, people always told me I had a lot of confidence. And I'm like, what does that mean? Oh, because I'm a Black woman, or because I have natural hair, or because I'm fat, or plus size, or whatever the word they use. Like, because you feel like I have all of these things, then I'm supposed to, look. I love myself. Like, I've always loved myself. I love myself like Kanye loves Kanye. But I've never heard. I hate when people say, humble yourself, or you need to be humble, or whatever. Because I've never heard anybody tell a white male to be humble. Never. I've never heard anybody tell a white male that he's a narcissist, or he's cocky, or he's arrogant, or he needs to tone down because, tone down because you need to humble yourself. You be back where you are. You making this right now, but you'll be back where you are. And I'm just like, what? Why? You would never tell a white male that. I think
it's not cockiness if it's true.
Yeah,
if it's true, like, how is it cockiness? Now there's people who inflate what they're saying, but if you're not inflating, it's true. And then two, it's marketing for you. If you're coaching people how to make money, you need to show them how much money. I don't want a broke coach.
Nobody does. And that was the reason I started sharing my numbers, is because I started seeing so many Black entrepreneurs sharing their numbers, and it made me motivated because I didn't even think that it was possible. So, it freed up your mind to think, okay, you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm just so excited about $10,000 a month. So I was excited to make $5,000 a month in my business. And then I see entrepreneurs are like, oh, I made $100,000 a month in my business. And I'm like, whoa, like, how it stretched my mind to think way bigger than I already was thinking. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people had, because they want to keep Black women in a box. They want to keep Black women, not a low mental. Like, they want to keep Black women at a certain place, because then they're able to manipulate Black women. They're able to keep them where they want to. One of the most important things about entrepreneurship for me as a Black woman is having my own money, being able to take care of myself. I don't have to be in any situation. I think I read something. It was like when I first became an entrepreneur, and I used to follow Tiffany Montgomery. She was on Periscope a lot too. She had shared this article, and it said something about Black women. I want to say it was like 41%. I don't know the exact percentage, but it was like 41% of Black women depend on their spouse for income. So they could never leave their situation. They got to like get money from their spouse. And I just never wanted to be that woman. Like, even my mom always told me, like, my mom's a very independent person. I always wanted to be able to take care of myself. Like, any relationships I go to, whatever that happens, that adds to what I already have is a Black woman. So yeah, I think a lot of people try to humble Black women, or tell Black women, oh, you don't need to be sharing your numbers because you're going to get robbed, or just crazy stuff, just because they're trying to put that fear on them. Even some of my family members, oh, don't share that. I'm like, that, like you said, that's marketing for me. When I got more transparent with my income, that created even more income for me. Because I was sharing when I had $5,000 a month, and people were like, whoa, you shouldn't be sharing that. And I'm like, $5,000 like a month.
Right. It's like, spending your mind is not even that much.
But, but for some people, they're only making $1,000 a month. Right. So hearing $5,000 a month, that's crazy. And then 10,000, 12,000, 15,000, the numbers going up. It creates a lot of fear in other people. So they want to put that fear off on you as a Black woman. They claim they're protecting you, but it's just their fear that they're putting on you.
Okay. Yes. Good stuff. And I want to dive in some things you said. So first of all, I'm a Christian. I lead a Christian group, and the ideal woman we like to point to is the Proverbs woman. And I feel like a lot of people use Christianity to put women in a box and like say you have to submit to your husband, you have to do this, or you have to be this way. And if we actually look at the Proverbs woman, she was a businesswoman. She ran her household. She made investments, and she grew her money. Like half of Proverbs 31 talks about how she grew and invested her money, and she ran a team of people. And we overlook that.
Yeah, they only take the parts they want
Right.
to be. Like they take away all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Right.
they don't take about the. I went to private school in my life,
Mm-hmm.
so religion was like a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the stuff that I didn't know, like it was always, we had a male priest. Most of my teachers were males. The women that were in my environment were like nuns, and they weren't as vocal as a woman of today. So that's something that I didn't even know about Proverbs. So
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy that we try to put women into one box, or being a homemaker, or
Mm-hmm.
taking care of their children. When you just said she was running a whole business,
The
she was
whole process.
investing, she was changing the game, and
Mm-hmm.
here it is today. Even today in 2020, we try to put women into this one box. Oh, if she wants to be an entrepreneur, she's neglecting her family.
Mm-hmm.
If she is nurturing her family, then she, gave up everything else, in her life. And it's just like, women can be all things. Like women can be more than one thing. They could be a mom, they could be an entrepreneur, or they could decide to be neither of that. So, it's just crazy how um, Christianity and just people of the world try to put one ideal on a woman. Um, I think I'm single. I don't have any kids. I'm like probably opposite of what everybody would what the Bible would even say
Mm-hmm.
for a modern day woman to be. And I still consider myself pretty successful. So
Yeah, no, absolutely.
what works for you?
And no, I agree with you. And one thing that I know you do personally, because we kind of discussed it, I know when I've dated men, I've told them like how I want my life. I'm like, I want a nanny, I want a housekeeper, I want a chef. Um, and to me, these things don't have to cost a lot of money. And these men are like, no, you should go to work. My mama came home and did all this. Like, you should go to work and be able to do all this. And I'm like, I didn't get educated or study or get skilled to work myself to death.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. Like, so tell us more. You said you've done some things, and how do you think those things help your business? Like outsourcing things around the house and not doing everything.
Yep. So, as a single woman, like I said, I don't have a lot of help. So I choose to outsource my cleaning, outsource cooking sometimes. Um, I have an assistant. I have people to help me in every area of my life. So I think that's definitely important too. It's not just an American thing. Like you think of around the world, a lot of places around the world, having a nanny and having extra help is just normal. But in the
Normal.
US, it's like saw as a privilege thing. But the more one person doesn't have to be as a black woman, I feel like black women in general take on a lot of roles,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's just in everywhere. Like people are always calling you, whether from me, people are always calling me to help them with everything. From everything, they think I'm their life coach. They think I'm all types of things. And as a black woman, out, concerning health, concerning, longevity in life, I was like, okay, I can't be, everything to everybody. So outsourcing in my own life started to help me say no to a lot of things. So being able to outsource and have somebody to come clean up my house, I don't have to worry about that for like, you know, it would probably take me a whole day to clean my house, and I could pay somebody who's going to do it in 2 hours.
Right.
Or I could spend all day trying to cook. I'm not the best cook, and my mom always telling me, she's like, you're so non-domestic. Because I grew up, my grandmother lived with us for like most of my life, and she did a lot. She helped my mom with a lot. So I'm not the cleaner. I'm not the cooker. But I can help you run a business. I do what I'm good at. And as women, we don't have to take on 20 different roles. You don't have to do all of that. You can free so much in your life. Like I said, like getting your house clean is not expensive. You know, when a girl quoted me, I was like, that's it. Previously, before I hired like a company, I used to have like my friend's aunt. She used to clean my house, and that was like $100 every 2 weeks. Like it doesn't have to be expensive. It's just knowing what you're good at, doing what you're good at, and then outsourcing the rest. You save so much time and energy and money just by doing because your space as an entrepreneur right now, especially since we're in a pandemic, is important to your creativity. So if I can't get my house like clean and my house is looking crazy, then that is affecting my creativity. Whereas, somebody comes and clean it and I'm like, okay, my mind is not clouded, I'm in a great space, I'm able to create and, start to do business while again.
Right. And I can focus. And the thing is, even looking at it money wise, if it's going to take you the whole day, 8 hours, 10 hours to clean your house, because it takes me a long time to do that, you pay somebody who do it in 2 hours, they charge you $100. You could make several hundreds of $1,000s that day. And you tired after cleaning your house. So it takes away energy and time. To me, it just makes more sense to pay someone instead of wasting that energy or time.
Right, and somebody to come in and clean your house and they still have the energy to go about their day. And this take you all day and you be like, like I do
Exhausted, right?
surface cleaning and stuff. Like of course I clean up, but it's nothing like somebody coming and cleaning your house for you. You come in your house like, wow, I could never. It's so important to just pay people to do what they're good at instead of trying to do everything yourself because it just never works out.
I agree. I agree. So we're coming up on the hour, but I had one very, very important question. And well, this is a two-part question. What would you, let's answer this one first. What would you say to women who are scared to start their business?
If you're scared to start your business, ask yourself why. Like, write down your fears. Write down what you're so scared about. So, if you're scared to start your business, write down everything that you're scared about, and then write in a affirming statement afterwards. So, leave some space. Write down the things that you're scared of, and leave some space in between that to write some affirming statements. If you're scared that you're not going to make enough money in your business, start to say, I will surpass my income goal every month in my business. If you're scared that you're not going to be able to maintain it, or you don't know as much of information, you're not an expert, start to say, I am an expert at whatever. Like start to affirm that. It really works very quickly because I've done that with everything. So, any fears that you have surrounding starting your business, even if you are in your business now and you are scared about the reason I did not get to $10,000 months or better because I was scared. Like I was scared, like, oh, what does that mean? Um, I was also scared of living in my purpose as an entrepreneur because I felt like, okay, well, what are people going to think about me? I already don't have a lot of close friends. I'm just only going to isolate myself to people more if people feel like I'm this more well-known person. So I try to stay like out of the spotlight. I try to stay, behind the scenes more because I felt like, okay, the more I grow, the less people are going to like me, the less people are going to be, wanting to be in my life. And so that was something that I did that allowed me to, be more honest about what I actually wanted. I wrote down, okay, if I start making $10,000 a month and I lose every friend that I had, does that, hurt? Or, start to evaluate, the relationships that you had. Write down all of your fears, even the fears that you don't, in the back of your head, but you won't say them out loud. The only person who's going to read this is you. So write all of that out, even if you have to burn it afterwards. Write it out. Say, whatever your fears are behind making $100,000 a month. You know, I will be free. Sometimes we have so many fears that we don't even think about, and we're unconsciously bringing into our life. But if you write them down on paper and then write an affirming statement right afterwards, I guarantee, you'll let go all of those fears.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you
Yeah,
for
I have a friend. Her name is Marquita. She's in marketing mayhem as well. She always says, "Do it is scared." Everything I've done in business and in life in general, I've did it scared. Like I just had to do it. Like moving to Charlotte from Baltimore, I moved to Charlotte from Baltimore in 2019 by myself. I don't have any family here. It was a very scary process, but staying complacent in the same environment was even scarier to me. So just got to do it scared.
I did something similar. I understand. Like I had to move. So, um, yeah. If you feel the lead and you got to do it, because waiting for yourself not to be scared, you're never gonna do
It's
anything.
never gonna happen. You're always gonna be scared. There's
Right.
always gonna be that next thing that's scary to you.
Right.
So you can't run away from your fears. You have to decide to do it and step out of your comfort zone.
Right. Okay. So, before we get to the last question, what are your goals for the rest of the year? We got 3 months. So, what are your big goals, big money goals for the rest of the year?
Um, my big money goals. So I want to hit my first $20,000 a month. Get more $20,000 a month. I'm like so close. So getting our $20,000 a month. I want to have at least 200 members in Marketing Mayhem and grow Paid PJs to 100 members as well. As far as I did my quarter out this year, and I predicted to make about 160,000. If I can get to 200,000, that would be even awesome. In this quarter, I said that I wanted to make. I said I wanted to make $50,000 in third quarter. And one of my coaches, Facebook friend, she was like, "Oh no, you can make that in a month." So if I can get my first 30,000 and 40,000 a month this year, that would be like really exciting.
I mean, Black Friday's coming up, so
Yeah, I'm predicting. I have mapped out Black Friday. I want to make 10 grand on Black Friday, which is really attainable once I broke down my numbers. So we shall see.
okay. Yeah, I believe it. I can't wait to see it. So, okay. So, question for to help everyone who's watching. One of my personal goals for the rest of the quarter is to help. I forgot what I said. 1,000 people start making an extra $100 to $3,000 a month and saving that. I'm really good with savings, like you said, like you mentioned, you might have been before, but it's probably because I'm a little scared to spend money too. But um, what would you tell someone who had no followers, no business, no extra savings? They wanted to make an extra $3,000 in 30 days. They want their first month, they want to make $3,000 in 30 days. What should they focus on? What should they do?
I've actually had somebody come to me with this question, and I helped them make 3,030 days. So,
Woo!
but this person kind of had a background, so.
Okay.
But if you are somebody who wants to make an extra 3,000, I've actually done this as well. Created a new whole stream of income with my digital products that makes me $3,000 a month. So for the beginner that has no zero followers, that has no following, okay, start today. Start a type of company that you don't need a website, you don't need um, anything for, and that could be you could be a graphic designer, you could be a VA, you could be like me, a writer. When I started my writing business, literally I bought a logo on Fiverr. I created a Twitter account and I started to find leads that same day. I got my same customer. I got my first customer that same day.
Mm.
So you can go on Craigslist, you can go on social media. The first thing when you first start your business, you need to go find customers. So I pitch customers on Twitter. I found like customers. I just searched like I was writing papers and essays, so I searched like people that was looking for that, and then I just contacted them and told them that I offered this service. They even say yes or no. I spent all day, mostly every day, half of my day finding leads, and then the other half of the day doing the work. And so, literally, by my first week, by the end of that week, I made $1,000.
Mm.
Literally, we live in a day and age where we have the internet. If you go on Craigslist, you go into their leads, they have plenty of people asking for whatever services. The top services right now are VA, writing, graphic design. Anybody can excel in any of these careers. You can teach yourself graphic design. You can teach yourself how to edit and write papers. You can teach yourself how to be an admin assistant or a VA. All of those. If I was broke today and I had, $0 coming in, I would start from scratch. Whatever career I wanted to do, I would start graphic design. If I was not a graphic designer, I would hire a graphic designer, and I'm good at finding leads, so I would outsource that. So if I would find a customer. Say if I had a customer that needed a website for $5,000, I'll find a customer, get somebody else to graphic design it, and pay that person $3,000 or $2,000, and I made $2,000. So you know, it's really easy to come up with income if you really need it. Like when you don't have money or when you're broke, that's when creativity comes in. It's been times when I need to come up with money and my creativity just went into overdrive, and I'm like, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. But as you grow in business, you start to really see how how you can go grow your income. For somebody who is a seasoned entrepreneur or already in entrepreneurship and they're trying to make $3,000, a client that I help make the extra 3,000, she was a writer. She has written probably 20 something books, and she needed the extra. She was going on a trip and she needed the extra $3,000. And so, what I told her was, okay, here is an opportunity for you to start to create education. People already know you as a writer, so you already have that social proof. So then she started to offer ghostwriting. She started teaching, and she ended up coming with more than $3,000 a month just from creating those two extra streams of income. Sometimes it's just okay if you're good at something. Can you implement digital products? Can you start a membership? Can you start doing webinars? Like it's so many streams of income. Like I have four main sources of income, but I have 11, probably 11 streams from that. Like there's so many different ways that you can bring income in, but I think people just don't think outside of the box. Like, I see people selling all types of things, and I'm like, oh, that's so creative. But it's especially in COVID right now, I've seen a lot of businesses pivoting and just doing things that people probably never even thought to do. Um, you know, since COVID hit, I've done a webinar every month. So I've done 7 webinars. And those webinars have brought me at least $600-700 extra a month. That I wasn't even thinking. Like, okay, who wants to show up on camera? I was like, oh, I don't want to get on camera. I don't want to do this. But like, yeah, one thing where people aren't, it's not an income, it's not I can't say nobody. Most people don't have an a money manager problem. It's an income problem. Figure out, you may not need to get that second job. What job can you create? You probably can bake some cupcakes and make, that extra income. So it's all on figuring out, just get out of your mind. Again, write it down. Start to write some affirmations. Money is simple energy. It moves like liquid. That is my favorite affirmation. I say that, and I'll get extra $500 in my account. So just being open minded and trying to receive when money is coming your way, because there's probably so many opportunities of money coming that person's way, but they're not like opening their eyes and they're not open to it. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Some of the biggest takeaways I got from there, and I was just thinking about my personal experience, like you got to spend half the day marketing basically and half your time actually getting the product. And the marketing initially is, just grassroots. Like social media gives you a lot of access to a lot of different people and avenues and searching conversations and people talking about things. So I think that is really good. And what product or service can you offer, and how many of that do you have to offer to make your goal? So I think that's really good. I haven't been checking the chat, but hey, Brittany, thanks for joining. And hey, Danielle, thanks for joining. Brittany has been on here a long time. So Brittany says she is joining Marketing Mayhem, and she is really excited about everything you said.
Yay! Come on, Brittany.
Yeah. So I hope some other people saw it. I'll be sharing this a lot of places. One of my passions, because where I find myself right now, I'm really passionate about helping single mothers create an income for themselves, because I have to make money of 2 people, basically, because I have to support a whole household. And I know the way that I want to live, And so I'm really passionate about giving information to single moms about how to make money, not having to go to the grocery store, to work with a lot of people, things like that. So, hey, Kalina.
Awesome. I think this platform is awesome because I watched the video on how you say $12 an hour, and as you know, a single mom, and you had so much trauma that you were going through. You know, you lost your mother. You was going through a lot, and you still was able to do that. So I admire everything that you're doing, and I think you're going to go far. Definitely.
Thank you.
You know, growing your platform with helping single moms. I'm not a mom, but definitely just Black women in general, helping them to, you know, grow their income.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me. You are my first money conversation. So I appreciate it.
I'm so excited. This is such a great conversation. So
yeah, it was really good. And I think we helped a lot of people, and we're going to help a lot of people. So thank you so much. Please subscribe. India, where can we find you?
I am at India Lindsey on Instagram and Twitter, on all other platforms, and I am India Kiera Lindsey on Facebook.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so thank you guys. Please subscribe. Please turn on the notifications so you can hear more about our lives. We will be going live. I will be going live 3 times a week on YouTube because I realize I don't like to edit videos. That's just the real truth. But so we'll be going live 3 times a week, 10 o'clock Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So thank you so much. I really, really enjoy having you. Hopefully we'll have you soon at the end of the year after you reach your goals.
Yes.
And I'm really
enjoying this chat as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.